Sick. Am I back yet? Ooh. We're highlighting this VOD. Yo, this guy's like insane for what he just did. Is that video even monetized? Unpublished. Cool. Okay. So, uh, yeah, good thing I fucking noticed that, right? Out of respect, uh, yeah, I erased the bot, removed the part. We're still gonna listen to the story. We're just not gonna be able to see, what the fuck they were talking about.
In fact, there was no wildlife aside from flies and maggots. At the center of the tower was a pool of blood that was several feet deep.
Huh?
Even with the blood from every dead body there, it was still more than they'd be capable of producing. The stench that the blood gave off was enough for the officials to never want to return to this particular site. The expedition met with an unexpected end when one of the villagers accidentally kicked a small bone into the pit.
Huh?
The pit then exploded, sending blood and liquid flying out.
Wait, what the fuck?
Those that were covered in the blood were immediately sent to the hospital and quarantined. Most
Yeah.
people would later go mad with fever and never recover.
Mhm.
Officials later returned to the site with hazmat suits, but were met with an unusual sight. All of the bodies were gone and the blood pit was completely empty.
Oh, what
The
the
only
fuck?
evidence of this site's existence was this photograph. Now, this photo is pretty creepy, and if I had not done a little research, this whole site would look alien to me. Of course, with what I know now, I see this as a burial rite, and one that makes sense. The story attached is pretty creepy and is another short one that leaves you asking a lot of questions.
Yeah, because,
The scariest part of this story comes with the fact that this picture looks so creepy.
we're good, we're
The
good.
picture adds a little evidence to the writing. Of course, the story itself is creepy too, with
A
the strange,
gruesome
unexplicable
ass
phenomena
fucking
being
picture,
found deep in the
dude.
forest of India.
Like,
The mystery continues
it's
to
like you
grow
said,
and
it's
never
a
gives
burial,
up
right?
any answers.
We
I
can
think
do
that
is
does well
respect.
for the story.
Out of respect. Janice, there better not be anything fucking crazy coming up.
Our next creepypasta is called Janice.jpg. It's a pretty straightforward story about a man that explores the internet a bit too much. We've all glimpsed the weird side of the internet, but the narrator of this story made it a full-time job.
At 35 minutes, I may put on the
Janice.jpg is
thing
a story
again.
where the narrator is actually named. His name is Mark Spielman, and he works for the police department. His job is to find illegal websites and direct them to the police. This means that he would have to sit through some of the worst the internet had to offer. After being hired for the job, he got immediately to work finding what the internet tries to hide. His first few assignments were pretty straightforward until he came upon the website sweet15.com. With a name like that, Mark was pretty sure he stumbled
Oh,
upon a child predator website.
dude, no. They're not gonna fucking show some.
Exploring the website at first seemed promising.
I don't know what that is. I'm just gonna leave this
It
up.
didn't seem to have a point. The first image he clicked on was titled Kathy.jpg. The picture
Maybe I'll
loaded and showed
describe
a
it if
girl
I'm
smiling at
not
the
too
camera.
focused on my homework.
The girl looked to be about 15 or 16, but she looked fine and not in any precarious situation. The one thing that Mark did notice odd was that the name of the picture was now Janice.jpg.
Mm-hmm.
Mark clicked back to the main page and followed another link with a different girl's name. Once again, he was back on the same picture of Janice. Every picture that he clicked on led him back to that photo. He even brought in help, and all of them saw that photo over and over
Mm-hmm.
again. So far, there was nothing explicitly illegal about the website. It seemed like one big joke was being played on him.
Yeah. Oh my
He
god,
couldn't
minus
find anything, and
one?
as he was leaving work for the day, he couldn't shake the feeling that he needed to explore the site more. Mark returned home and couldn't sleep. His mind was racing, and he knew what to do. He would have to go to that site again and dig deeper than he had before. He returned to the list of names and scrolled to the bottom.
Oh, that's right.
At the very bottom of the list was a file named truejanice.jpg. He immediately clicked on the image and saw the same photo from before, but in black and white. Mark covered the picture and found an embedded link. Clicking on it, his computer shut down and gave him the infamous blue screen.
Hmm?
A few minutes of tinkering, and he was able to get his computer turned back on. The computer loaded up, but every single application had been deleted from his desktop. A pop-up window said that 1,000 photos were being copied over to his main drive. The background screen of his computer was also changed to the same photo of Janice, the black and white one from before.
Mm-hmm.
There was a pretty big change, though. Janice appeared to be frowning now, and she looked fearful. The 1,000 photos had finished downloading, and now all that was left was for him to examine them. Starting with the first image, Mark noticed immediately that they were pictures of Janice.
Mm-hmm.
He started flipping through them rapidly and saw that the images were changing slightly.
Yeah.
At first, she wore a smile, and then it turned to the frown from before. Eventually, she was full on screaming. The pictures eventually became a black screen. He clicked through them until a room appeared in the photos. At the center of the room was a bed with a bundle of something on it. Mark couldn't really be sure because it was covered by a blanket. As Mark continued clicking through the pictures,
Mhm.
a man entered the room. He walked over to the bed and ripped the blanket from it.
Oh.
On the bed was a girl who had been tied down, and her stomach was ripped open. The man then proceeded to operate on her while she was still alive. Mark saw picture 999, and it was a close-up of the girl. It was Janice, and the final image showed her lifeless face staring into the camera.
Yeah.
The final picture was a question mark with the phrase, "Who is Janice?" written on it. That's the story of Janice.jpg. I'm actually a big fan of stories that utilize the medium that I think has a ton of opportunity, the
Mhm.
internet. Stories about strange websites, mysterious links and files.
Yeah,
and
but they're
secret
so
forums always intrigue me.
gruesome. What the fuck?
This story focuses on a website that hides some very deadly secrets. I'm not sure what the purpose of the website is, and I like that. I prefer not to know why, because it adds a sense of mystery to the story.
Mm-hmm.
Something I left out was the ending, where the entire story was part of a police report. Mark had gone missing after the incident. It doesn't really follow up with anything after that. It just says that the police dropped the case since they had no leads. Detectives later found a code that was hidden in the Janice picture. Combining it together created a video file. The officers who investigated this lead deleted the video and refused to talk about it. I don't really like this part. Officers probably aren't just going to delete evidence, no matter what they see.
Yeah.
Also, the police aren't just going to drop this case. There's a murder involved, and one of the employees has gone missing after researching the case.
Mm-hmm.
The overall story is fine, but this little end piece could use a revision or two.
It's minus Y? Oh my fucking god, this thing gets so fucking annoying. Minus Y.
Anomaly is a creepypasta I've been wanting to talk about for a while. It's one that I find very interesting and definitely one that should be talked about more.
Uh-huh.
It was created by Rembetis and was posted on 4chan before ending up on the Creepypasta wiki. The Creepypasta starts with the narrator telling us that they're posting something they shouldn't be, and they've chosen 4chan so they can remain anonymous. He goes on to explain that he works for a printing company that mainly prints coffee table books. You know, the kind of books that you can flip through when you're bored, but never read fully.
Yeah.
His company finally got an interesting deal worked out. An old man had contacted the company and wanted them to release a series of photos for him, ones that he considered to be very valuable.
Mm-hmm.
The name of the book was to be called Anomaly, and that's how he described his collection of photos. The company wasn't sure until they saw a few of the images being pitched, along with a small write-up for each one. They saw the interest and decided to go through with the deal. This would prove to be a tedious process, as the old man would only send one photo at a time and wouldn't send the next until he received his previous one back. He was very protective of his collection, as he reminded them on several occasions. The narrator notes that they were about a third of the way through the book when the old man pulled out of the project. He
Mm-hmm.
hired a lawyer that voided his contract and threatened to sue them if they tried to publish
What
it
the fuck?
anyways. That's where the narrator's post comes in. He was so mad at all the lost work they did that he decided he would post 14 of the photos onto the internet and let the world see them.
Mm-hmm.
These are those 14 photos. The first photo shows a group of school kids. This
Mm-hmm.
was the last image taken of these students before they perished in a fire that took place in 1908 in Collinwood, Ohio.
Okay.
Not a single kid survived the fire that took the lives of 172 students, 2 teachers, and 1 rescuer.
That's the
The second
story.
photo
That's
shows
not
an
actually
entity that
anything.
appears to be a woman with a very large dog. This photo was taken by a man named Charlie Noonan. He was a folklorist and was visiting Oklahoma when he was told this strange tale of this woman. After going out searching for her, he was never seen again. The photos were recovered when a man at a pawn shop got a hold of his camera and sent it to Noonan's wife. These were the last images taken on the camera. The third photo shows members of the Union Army right before the Battle of Antietam. The man on the far right lost the right side of his face as well as his arm. The image has some damage that coincides with what happened. It's not entirely known when the photo was damaged.
Oh, there's nothing there.
The fourth
Nothing
image
on it.
supposedly captures the only proof of the Axeman of New Orleans. It was taken by a French photographer and inventor who was
No.
traveling around the US
The
at the time.
Axeman was actually something I covered.
The image was discovered
Well,
by his
not
daughter
I,
after
but
he
like,
passed away.
that I showed on stream.
The fifth image was taken in the Grand Caverns in southwestern Virginia. It appears to show some strange cave-dwelling cryptids. This image was taken by Orrin Jeffries as he was trying to see if there was any way to take photos in total darkness.
Mhm.
After leaving his camera in the cave, he swore he saw something and ran away until he was out of the cave. A few days later, he and a friend returned for the camera
Mhm.
and found this image on it. In 1938, the sixth photo was taken after a car crash.
These are doctored images, right? What that means is that they just represent
In
and are stock
1938, the sixth
photos.
photo was taken after a car crash. A mother and her twins were in the crash, but only the mother survived. This photo was taken by a policeman at the scene, and it appears the twins wanted to watch what happened next. The
Yeah, it's a
seventh photo shows
ghost.
a group of
It's a
kids
ghost
and their
photo,
donkey.
basically.
This was the
But
last
I'm just
image of
not gonna
these
show
kids
it out of respect, right? Sorry for.
taken
It's
before
weird.
the accident.
This is a.
The 3 kids had fallen asleep in their family barn
Oh
right before their father drove in with the hay sweep and dismembered the kids exactly where the damage on the photograph was.
my god.
Photo 8 shows a ghost showing up to watch her murderer be hanged. He was a drifter who came into town and murdered her. He
Yeah,
was
this
later
is
hanged by the
gruesome.
townsfolk. Photo 9 was of a woman who got lost in an intricate underground tunnel system of an asylum.
Uh-huh.
This asylum was famously known to be the one that inspired H.P. Lovecraft's Arkham Sanatorium and also for inspiring Batman's Arkham Asylum.
Ooh, okay.
One of the patients, a woman named Sarah Eustace, wandered into the underground
Yeah.
tunnels and was never seen again.
This is the one.
A nurse at the asylum would go down into the tunnels when she was off shift and try to
I'm
find
just
the
gonna
missing
keep it up
woman,
like this.
but was never successful. This picture was taken on one of her expeditions. The 10th photo shows a family photo where a deceased relative decided to join.
Uh-huh.
He was the uncle that was known for playing jokes on everyone. This was his last joke.
Oh,
He
this is
was
kind
known
of
for
cool.
playing jokes on everyone.
This is cool.
This was his last joke. In 1935, a woman by the name of Josephine Yerno went missing while on one of her nightly strolls.
Mhm.
Search parties turned up nothing, but 3 years later she would be found squatting in front of one of the neighbors' homes.
Mhm.
She appeared to be completely alright and had no idea that she'd been missing. To her, no time had passed. She refused
Mhm.
medical attention and even continued her walks. This photo was taken of her on one of her walks.
Oh,
5 years after her initial disappearance, she would disappear again, but this time for good.
Mhm.
No one knows what happened to her, and this photo paints a very eerie feeling to the whole situation.
Yeah.
The 12th photo depicts a
But
mill.
these are
This
creepypastas,
mill
right?
was infamous for its child labor and actually caused child labor laws to be enacted. A 9-year-old girl would lose her life at the mill. This photo was taken, and a tall white figure can be seen, and the girl would lose her
So these almost seem to be historical in nature, which is like a little odd for creepypastas,
life
right?
at the mill. This photo was taken, and a tall white figure can be seen in the corner window,
Mhm.
but is not reflected in the lake below.
Yeah.
Photo 13 shows a girl named Lily Palmer as she's about to go trick or treating with her nanny.
Mhm.
This was the same year that she tried to claw out her eyes and she reported seeing things crawling in her eyes.
Mm-hmm.
The girl was later hospitalized for her condition after she tried to poke out her eyes with sewing needles.
Oh my god.
This photo supposedly depicts the first signs of her illness. The final
That
image
one's
shows a
sad.
cropped version of a nuclear bomb test from 1945. The uncropped version seems to show a UFO. This image has only been seen by a select few and is likely the only copy left.
Hold up. This is obviously like, like I said, doctored, right? Not doctored. They're not like real.
45. The uncropped version seems to show a UFO.
Yeah, right here.
This image has only been seen by a select few and is likely the only copy left. That was Anomaly, and I really like the creepypasta.
Mm-hmm.
It gives a believable intro and then follows up with images that add to the story. These images could easily be from anywhere, just taken from the internet with their issues, but having the stories included with each one makes it interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I like creepypastas that include media like this.
Yeah.
I also really enjoy each image having its own unique and creepy backstory.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it feel like each image is its own story, which is kind of the point, I guess. This creepypasta is definitely one worth checking out if you haven't already.
Yeah. The painting, huh?
The painting is our next creepypasta. This creepypasta is written by Meek and can be found on creepypasta.com. There are actually 2 stories with this name, or at least that I could find. The name is pretty simple, so it's likely there are countless stories that bear the same name. The narrator starts the story by telling us about his brother that had gone missing, or more accurately, how his brother had been kidnapped. The kidnapper was described as being methodical and professional, as no fingerprints or signs of break-in were found that night. The narrator, though, knows the truth. It all started when his dad found a painting in the attic of their home. The painting was of a tall gray house surrounded by grass. Behind the house was a sudden drop down to the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
It was built on a cliff's edge. There were words written on the back of the painting that the narrator's mom recognized as Welsh, but didn't translate. The narrator didn't like the painting, but his dad loved it. The painting was then placed in the boys' room. The narrator wakes up one night at 2 a.m., feeling hot and sweaty. He sees that his brother Jamie is still asleep. He tiptoes out of the bedroom and gets some water from the sink. Feeling refreshed, he returns to bed. That's when he notices a strange black shape on the painting. The black shape resembles a man, but he didn't remember seeing him before. The next day it was gone. No one had believed him, and he didn't really believe himself. That night, though, he saw the man again. This time he was
the question for the tangent
in a
line.
different position.
Let's see equals.
The narrator covered his head with his blanket and went to sleep shaking. The next night, the author woke again at 2 a.m. and saw that the painting was completely black. He tried to not make a move and be as still as possible. Fear overcame him, though, and he got out of bed and crept towards the bedroom door. He opened it and then ran towards the bathroom. The narrator locked the door and hid in the tub. For a few moments, there was no sound until the creaks of the floorboards could be heard. He stayed quiet for a moment as he heard someone walk up to the bathroom door. He called out asking if it was his brother, his mom, or his dad. Only sound that he heard in return was the scratching on the wood. This lasted for a few moments before he could hear whatever it was walking away. He awoke the next morning to the sound of banging on the door. It was his dad, and he was calling for the 2 boys. When only one emerged, they called the police. On the door of the bathroom were deep gash marks.
Oh my god.
To this day, his brother has never been found, and the narrator is sure he was taken by the entity from the painting. The painting itself looked different now. There was a small child that was sitting inside the house. He appeared to be crying. The boy looked suspiciously like his brother, but no one would believe him. The narrator, now an adult, still has the painting. He keeps it in the attic, and every once in a while he'll hear footsteps from up there. He calls out his brother's name every time, not once.
Oh my god, the answer was 3. Why is it 3?
The image attached to this creepypasta is The Crying Boy by Bruno Amato.
Yeah.
This image is correlated with this creepypasta, but the picture itself has its own story to tell. Likely one that I'll get to at a later part of this iceberg. The painting is a great short story to tell around a campfire.
Yeah.
It has that easy retellability that a lot of these earlier creepypastas had. The story was circulating the internet in 2014. It's a very fun story and definitely one I bring out around Halloween for my non-creepypasta friends.
Yeah. Satellite images, but are these gonna be aliens or some bullshit like that?
The last creepypasta on this tier is Satellite Images.
Oh
It was written by
my
user Squid Ink and posted to the Creepypasta Wiki in
god.
2013. It follows a person who can't
Oh
leave their
my
apartment due to a car accident that left them in a wheelchair. Due to this, they spend most of their time traveling the world using Google Earth. This was usually done by picking a random city and then dropping in on a random street. Watching the people go about their lives always made the narrator feel better. While moving around the streets of Tokyo, they saw a woman with red shoes. Her shoes stuck out because they have the same ones. For a moment, they felt like they had connected with a random Google Earth stranger.
Like,
That moment lapsed as they decided it was time for bed. The next morning, they decided they would visit Paris. Grabbing the Google character icon, they dropped them onto the street view. The city of Paris was one of their favorites to see. That was until they saw the same woman again with the red shoes. This had to be some cosmically insane coincidence. Leaving Paris, they decided to go to Berlin, and once again she was there. She appeared to be getting closer to the camera
oh,
each
this
time she would
one, yeah, yeah,
see.
yeah. And then
Her face
eventually
was also
finds the
turning
guy,
more and
right,
more
or the
towards
girl,
narrator.
or whatever.
Another city, and she was there again.
Yeah,
No
this
matter
is
which city the
sick. This
narrator
is
went
sick.
to, the
It
lady
keeps
with
on
the red
coming closer
shoes
and
was
closer and
around.
closer. This is
They
like
also
weird.
continued to get closer with each sighting.
Yeah,
The narrator switched to their
I
city, and
forgot
once
this
again
one was
the
a thing.
girl was there. This time she was looking directly at them.
This is just like a regular
They thought it
creepypasta
had to
though.
be a joke Google was playing. They switched to the camera outside of their apartment complex and saw no one. With a relieved sigh, the narrator logged off of Google Maps. They were ready to never use it again when a knock was heard at their door. The narrator had a camera installed to see who their visitors might be. When they flipped the camera, they saw the woman with red shoes staring directly at them. Her face was still blurred as if on Google Maps. This is kind of a classic story in the world of
Yeah.
creepypastas. I've heard this one a multitude of times by many different narrators. I actually enjoyed the story a lot. The story is
Yeah.
excellent at setting up its premise of a person who can't travel the world and finds another way. This, of course, leads to the lady in red shoes tracking them down. The ending is purposefully vague, and I think it does well for the story. I also really like the use of Google Maps as a story element. People using websites that we all know about is an easy way to connect with your audience. The description of the blurry faced woman staring into the camera at the end was the perfect way to end the story as well. It's foreboding and creepy, so perfect for an internet horror story. The image that's often used for this creepypasta is one from Google Maps. There are a ton of images on Google Maps that are bizarre, creepy, disturbing, and